welcome back. Weeks of heavy rain are rising the prices of staple fresh produce. In just 1 week, the price of tomatoes shot up by 21% and potatoes a whopping 39%. How much rain is good for crops and how much is too much? AgriSA Executive Director Christo van der Rheede joins us now. Thank you so much for your time, Christo. We appreciate it. Let's just actually ask that question. How much rain is good for crops and how much is too much, given the amount of rain that we are experiencing throughout the country in the last couple of weeks?
Good evening to you and good evening to all of your viewers. I think tomato plantings happen throughout South Africa, and it happens during various seasons. For example, in the Lowveld, February to May; in the Highveld, October to November; Western Cape, October to December. So yes, we've had quite a lot of rain, but I don't think the rain has had a severe impact. It all depends on what is available on the market. It normally takes about 3 months for the crop to grow and another 2.5 months to pick it. And this time of the year, you'll find that there's fewer tomatoes available on the market, and the same applies to potatoes as well. So if the supply is dwindling, it then pushes up the price.
If the rain persists, what will this do to the prices going forward, especially into 2022?
I don't think we will have a problem going into 2022. Remember, it's now December season, and there's a huge demand for fresh produce, and people are buying a lot of stock at this point in time, and that also gives rise to the price. So yes, on the one hand, too much rain will be a setback, but tomatoes is not only produced in areas or in your summer rainfall areas, it's also produced in the Western Cape, which is a winter rainfall area. So we expect that the crops from the Western Cape will come onto the market over December, January, even into February, and that will then bring the price down. But I think there's other factors that also drive the price. For example, a massive rise in input costs like diesel, petrol, as also fertilizer and so forth.
Sure, that is exactly what was going to be my next question. What else could be driving the increase in prices of not only tomatoes but potatoes as well? I'm sure the petrol price has contributed to this sharp increase.
Indeed, we've seen very good rainfall in the summer crop areas and in the winter crop areas. But our bigger challenge at this point in time is the massive spike in fertilizer prices, also herbicides. Packaging cost has increased quite a lot, and then also labor and petrol and diesel cost. Now, our appeal to government is to really look at the levies that we currently pay. A huge percentage of the petrol price per litre goes into levies. And the big question that we have is, what do we get in return for that? Look at the state of our roads, look at the state of law enforcement on our roads, and we are really worried that we spend such a lot of money buying a litre of diesel, a litre of petrol, but the bulk of that money goes into levies, and we don't see that levy being spent on road infrastructure, which is critical to transport your produce from the farm to the markets.
Speak to us about how farmers are coping, not just with the climate change and it being a wetter season this time around, but also with what you've just mentioned, how there needs to be some kind of government intervention because of these fuel levies that are, of course, probably going to impact prices even more.
Farming is no easy practice in South Africa. It's a high-risk business. Farmers face huge risk in terms of fluctuating cost. They also face huge risk in terms of their personal safety. They also face huge risk in terms of all kinds of pests and diseases. Our big challenge is that our markets, the state of our markets in Johannesburg and Pretoria, is really not, those markets are not really in a good state. And our agents that sell and the buyers, they all pay a percentage, I think up to 5% of the price that they ask for a product is paid over to the city of Johannesburg, the city of Pretoria. But those markets are in a dilapidated state. Some of those markets went out without electricity for a couple of days due to cable theft. And what we are saying is we cannot put food security at risk in South Africa. We must make sure that our logistics systems, our markets are really top class and our harbours are top class so that we can export to the rest of the world.
Just lastly, Christo, I think many would want to know whether or not they're going to be paying more for their tomatoes, tomato sauce and their muchachos chips. Are we expecting to see a further increase? Now you know what are my favorite chips. Do you think we could be expecting a further increase in prices?
Sadly, though, when input costs go up, you will find that your consumers at the end of the day bear the brunt of that. And we really hope and pray that the petrol price and input costs will come down, especially during the new year. We have very good climatic conditions in South Africa. It's very favorable for farming at this point in time. But farmers, the margins that they get for their products are very, very low. And they're trapped in all kinds of other cost squeezes. So we hope and pray that things will normalize going into the new year, and that our consumers and our farmers get the benefit of, on the one hand, being able to make a profit on farming, and on the other hand, consumers get a good price for the produce that they buy.
Great. Thank you so much for that insight. We do appreciate it. That was AgriSA Executive Director, Christo van der Rheede.